Facebook family. I don't know what the fuck is going on. So they got me streaming.
Peace, this is Brother Hatim, and you have joined the Journey Radio. Be sure to check out our site and subscribe at tribe.gye-nyame.com.
I gotta remember the new code. Damn.
All my brothers and sisters hold hands and bow your heads. Let us pray.
10 minutes out the show. 10 minutes out the show.
How long will you judge unjust being a separate person of the wicked? I say,
the family can gather and
justice to the afflicted in the meeting. Deliver the poor in need. Live them out of the hand of the wicked. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of court. I have said, you are God, and all of you are children of the Most High. But you shall die like men and fall like one of the princes.
Come on, fam. Like and share. Come on, let's get it. Let's share.
This is Kabbalah Fox, and you are now listening to the Gye-Nyame Journey Radio.
Alright, that's enough of that.
Keep up with the journey. Check out what we're doing. JourneyArchives.com.
This is Adam Sheik, aka Ace, live from Shisha Lounge, and you are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio.
Alright, family, I ain't let the music play all the way through because my people on Spreaker already heard the whole damn song. Once again, I got played by Facebook. And that's cool. You know what I'm saying? We streaming on Facebook. We streaming on YouTube. We streaming on Periscope. What more can I ask? Well, I could ask for Facebook to stop kicking me off for little shit. I didn't do anything wrong. At least I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. All right, so first things first, let me go and say peace. I want to welcome you to the place where your hustle build muscle, the congregation of the mighty. This is Gye-Nyame Journey Media. Alright, Anime, I thought you was sleeping on me. Because I sure was about to get mad. This is a Heart of a Simple production. You know, we are on Folktales for Grown Folks, also known as hashtag FFGF. And, of course, you know, we strive to blow up your old paradigm. Without any further ado, we'll read the folktales, then we're going to go and be able to get into the discussion. Lines are open for anybody that want to call in, 614-556-4535. We've got a few things that we could discuss, but I want to make sure everybody know that on the 30th of this month, that's not this Saturday, but the next, I got to do push-ups, but the next Kuumba, because most people don't understand the language, but the next Kuumba, or 3:30 or March 30th, from 12 to 6, we will be having the market. Right? The mall, G&J Mall, will be popping off. I was trying to share that with the family earlier, but I got kicked off of Facebook because I was trying to share it. You know, that's what happens when you don't totally control your own territory, because the territory I have is built upon the territory that other people have laid out. So the one thing that I do have is my site. So what I have to figure out soon is how do I stream directly from my site and have people be able to click the link and come directly to our site, which we're going to be working on. We're going to get somebody to work on that real soon too. I do like the ability to stream out to some of our rental property, some of our lease properties that we have on Facebook and YouTube and Periscope. But I do understand ultimately that is not under our control. And that's just the way it is, right? You just have to learn to deal with it, and that's cool. You know what I'm saying? All right, family. So here, this is the folktale for the day. The Shipwrecked Man and the Sea. A shipwrecked man, having been cast upon a certain shore, slept after his buffering with the sea. After a while he awoke, and looking upon the sea, loaded with reproaches, he argued that it enticed men with the calmness of its looks, but when it had induced them to plow its waters, it grew rough and destroyed them. The sea, assuming the form of a woman, replied to him, "Blame me not, my good sir, but the winds, for I am by my own nature as calm and firm even as this earth. But the wind suddenly falling on me create these waves and lash me into fury." Nice, simple, concise. We could go and wrap a lot of discussions around that. Alright? So I won't necessarily go directly into it because there's a possibility we may be having some guest callers call in. So I'm going to go and rest on that for a second. But I'm going to tie some of the new stuff that has been posted up on Gye-Nyame Journey. I'm going to go on and plug this stuff that we're about to start talking about a little bit. I'm going to discuss it as we talk a little bit later about this folktale. Now also, what other announcements? We are working diligently on the Malcolm X Festival. Things are coming together slowly but surely. We will have a total finalized date because some things popped up that I think will be beneficial for the festival, that we're going to have to make some major adjustments because I'm trying to bring some national talent down, right? So we're not, we got national talent in Columbus, but a lot of us, you can't be a prophet at home. So I want to find some of those prophets at home and start bringing them out so that we can go on and give the people a beautiful, beautiful event, an event that we could talk about until the next Malcolm X Festival. Between doing the markets and just coming off Kwanzaa, I know y'all like just coming off, brother. I tell those, but it's a lot of work doing a lot of this stuff, and then on top of that, doing the Daily Toaster and doing the shows, can really, really start wearing on you after a while. And but this is still a labor of love. Any relationship that's worth keeping, there has to be some struggle with it, family. And like I said, I struggle to maintain my relationship with y'all. I struggle to maintain my relationship with my relationship with the community. You know what I'm saying? As well as my personal relationships too. And I understand that all relationships are built on respect, reciprocity, and there's one more R, responsibility. I try to operate with all those in all my relationships that I have, especially one with the community. Because like I said, we're trying to make sure that we are able to do some things that can stabilize. Because right now, our culture is not stable. And what do you mean, Brother Hatem? Yeah, a lot of us, we got knowledge, but we don't have the economics or the political aspects that would help stabilize and protect the culture. I mean, we're a recession away from not being able to get books. We're a recession away from not being able to make community events happen. We're a recession away. And what politics and economics allow us to do is to be able to store up wealth and store up power so that we can mold and shape the reality that we're currently in. We could carve out a pocket for ourselves. One of the things that I am slowly starting to understand, that power is not only the ability to create reality and to have other people respect that reality that you create, but power is also the ability to, and I know some of y'all gonna get offended by this, the power to exclude. What, brother out there? What? Because when you look at our politics over a long period of time, I want to tie all this back into this folk tale. Or at least I'm gonna try to do the best that I can, and maybe somebody out there may have the wisdom to dust off or to clear up some of the stuff that I have, because you know, a lot of us, we hide our gifts because we have some brilliant people in our tribe, and we have some brilliant people in Columbus that could speak on some stuff that will blow your mind. Family, I have traveled. I've been blessed to be able to travel. I've been to Africa. You know what I'm saying? I've never really spent a lot of time in Europe, but I have spent time in airports in Europe. I know that don't count. That's international territory. I've traveled all over this country, and one of the things I could say about the city that I'm in is that Columbus has some powerful individuals. And we as a people, we're very, very powerful, but we're very open to everybody. Anybody could come in. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, because a lot of times I have discussions, because one of the major things we talk about in the community is consensus. And I like asking people their opinions, but for me, sometimes consensus can get in the way, and this is what I mean. When you're doing stuff in the community, matter of fact, because I was going to bring this up from one show. Let me think. We was talking about something. Oh. So we have, because once again, back on this reparation piece, to tie all this in. The power to exclude and the power of our community. There is an issue with ADOS, Americans descendants of slaves, or American descendants of slavery, or Africans descendants of slavery, however you want to say it. You know what I'm saying? The founders say American descendants of slaves or slavery because there's a specific claim there. A lot of people are not comfortable with that. And one of the issues is that they're saying that y'all are xenophobic. Y'all don't want to partner up with other people, and you know what I'm saying, the Haitian community, the Jamaican community, the African diaspora. You're separating yourself out, and you're removing yourself, and you're removing yourself from possible assistance in moving what y'all talking about forward. So when you listen to the founders of the ADOS movement, not necessarily, because we're going to get on the other people that are involved with the reparations movement, then we're going to tie it all back into the folktale. If y'all could just bear with me for a minute. When you look at it, what ADOS is simply doing is exercising the power to exclude, so that the claim that we have, that we are demanding be fulfilled by this country, not begging, but demanding and holding people to the feet to the fire about being able to produce and to start moving on this whole reparation shit, is basically using the power to exclude, so that none of the excuse can be, well, what about people who immigrated? So we had to come up with ADOS, people that could connect their bloodline directly to these slave plantations in America. And don't get it, and see, because a lot of people don't understand the history, because a lot of us, we want to start off in the South. Family, y'all got to understand that a lot of us that were in the deep South, like Florida, Mississippi, Georgia, right? A lot of us were not brought in on slave ships up in there. A lot of us was migrated from the East Coast of America down south. But you got to look at that history to really understand that stuff, right? Now, ADOS is setting up not an exclusive group, but a group that could fit that lineage. That's called a tribe. When I'm talking to some of my people from the diaspora, I'm married to a sister from Africa. She's very proud of the fact that she's an AWay and that she can connect herself and our children, not only to my family, but also to her family who are AWays. And I have no problem with that. I have friends that are able to claim that they're Yoruba, and they're very proud of being Yoruba. You know, I know some people who are Ashanti. They're very proud of being Ashanti, right? And I don't begrudge them that. Your line traces back to that. You're able to trace your line back to that. More power to you. God bless you. But here in America, I could trace myself back to the plantations of Georgia, Alabama. I could trace the oppression that my family have went through from Georgia and Alabama into Florida, and from Florida up to Akron, Ohio, and from Akron, Ohio to Columbus. I could trace my family line back through that. And that group of people and other people around that area and in this part of the United States have a tribe as well. Now, what the ADOS movement has done, it has allowed us to find something that we can get up under so that we can bring up our case against this country that belongs to us. This government that we're paying taxes to on a regular basis. Brother Hatim, get to the point. So the point is, as far as the power of exclusion. So with the ADOS, there's a beef because they're saying that, you know, y'all dissing the Pan-Africanists, y'all dissing the Jamaicans, y'all dissing the Haitians, y'all dissing those that are from the continent. You're separating yourself and you're xenophobic. But we're doing nothing else but what everybody else is doing. We're circling our wagons, we're creating a tribe. Something that we can start identifying ourselves as that's uniquely ours. Now, what does that have to do with what you was originally talking about, Brother Hatim? Okay. Now, so when I was younger and I was going to church, I used to, my reading was horrible. I flunked the first grade. And after flunking the first grade, I was like, I ain't going to be too many people that's going to be able to read better than me. Or even be able to speak the words better than me. You know what I'm saying? Or know the words better than me. So I started reading. I got familiar with the Bible. I got familiar with the dictionary. I started reading comic books. And I started reading, and, my reading level is pretty good. My vocabulary is, it's decent. I could dust up on it a little bit more. But one of the stories that came out of the scriptures that I always had a problem with, and I always could never quite understand until I really started looking at this ADOS movement. There's a story about a laborer in the vineyard. Stick with me. This laborer in the vineyard, and he's working all day. And then another laborer comes into the vineyard and he starts working from when he comes. Let's say I've been working in the vineyard since 9 a.m. This other worker come to the vineyard about 1 o'clock and we work until 6. And at the end of the day, the boss comes out or the master comes out and he pays all of us the same. The ones that's been here all day and the ones that came later in the day. And the one that complained about it was condemned. I've been working all day, master. And yet you pay us all the same. And they find a way to justify this in the scriptures. But it never sat right with me. I can hear it. I can hear the philosophical side of it. I can hear the spiritual side of it. But when we get to the physical side of it, it don't make no sense. When it comes to the survival side of it, it don't make no sense. So what you're telling me, or what you're demonstrating, is that if I come to your vineyard at 2 o'clock, I can make the same amount of money that if I work from 9 to 6, as if I started at 2 to 6. So I could spend a couple of hours in another vineyard, get some money, and then come over to your vineyard and make the same amount that everybody's been working in your vineyard. Family, the vineyard in this piece that I'm giving you right now is America. We've been in America. Some of us could trace our roots back to the very beginning of this shit. Some people could trace their heritage back 100 years. Some could trace it back 50 years. But when it comes to us making our call for reparations, we want everybody, using the logic from the scriptures, we want everybody to be paid the same. And that shit is not going to happen on my watch. Send me to hell. I'm just saying. I prefer hell. That don't make no sense to me. And I'm not going to try to make it no goddamn sense. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. It don't make no sense. So we got to throw that shit out. Now, so with ADOS, what's going on is we are identifying who we are. We have identified who we are. We have defined the vineyard that we are working in, right? And now it's time to get paid. Family. So for us to say, hey, you can't pay other people the same shit that you paying us. You females, gays, people, immigrants. No. Get us our shit. Then you can go on and talk about paying everybody else what you feel you owe them. But everybody else cannot hitch their wagon to our star. Period. Right? So part of power is being able to exclude. Because when you open it up to everybody, you try to satisfy everybody, nobody's ever really satisfied. And in a sense, you actually have no power. And that's something that a lot of us, we really got to wrestle with. Because we want to pull everybody with us. But on a specific claim that is being screamed out for reparations right now, everybody can't come. Right? Everybody can come because there's a specific claim on a specific place, on a specific group. And we need to get our equity up out. Use it for whatever we will. Some of y'all can argue about whether we're going to get checks, or some of y'all can argue about long as the shit is getting done. Long as the shit is getting done and it's not stupid. You know what I'm saying? Now, so another piece of the news that I want to cover about this. So right now, so what I did on our channel on Gye-Nyame Journey Media on Facebook, I put up the article, Reparations. It's 1 hour and 28 minutes and 36 seconds. I don't know why it did not play the whole shit for me. I was cheated. I knew it ended kind of abruptly and it ended wackly, so I need to go back in and get my whole 1 hour and 28 minutes. So I guess I got to download the app. But I'm going to find it. But for those that don't have time to read, and while you're riding your car, you can listen to this article by Ta-Nehisi Coates. It's called The Case for Reparations. Good article so far, what I have been able to listen to. And also give you some talking points when you have discussions with other people in your family, and a lot of us got to build up our stamina, because what's going to start happening is we're going to start running into a lot of naysayers, family, and I'm encourage you, be not discouraged, because as the conversations start growing and as the smear campaigns start building up, because at first, you know what I'm saying, they laugh at you. Then they try to destroy you. The next thing you know, you're getting paid. Right? It's already we already been laughed at. The laugh already happened. That y'all not real, boom, boom, boom. I mean, they've been doing that shit to get real, that because really, when you think about it, if you really look at the history of it, of reparations, the call for reparations we're kind of picking up a little bit of steam right before Obama got elected. Obama got elected, kind of derailed all that. I ain't saying that he had anything to do with it for those family out there that love Obama. What I'm saying is that kind of derailed the whole conversation, because many of us vicariously felt that we received something when Obama got in office. But after 4 years, some of us like, still the same. Still the same time, still the same place, still the same shit. As a matter of fact, it felt like shit intensified a little bit more. And with the second 4 years, disappointment. So the giggles and the laughs and the we're going to ignore you happened. Then all of a sudden, we moving into 2020. Some young people have fired up the movement again and start throwing some logs back on something that's been around. Because people been doing it for a lot of time, but nobody has brought it to the forefront like Yvette Cornell and Tone Talks with Antonio Moore, with the numbers, with the specificity of who is supposed to be getting reparations and all of the data to back it up. This is what got me attracted. I love to see and I love to support younger people who are on fire, right? So what I found on a show called AM Joy, there was a discussion with an older brother and a sister. I don't remember the names of the people, but it's posted up on Gye-Nyame Journey, where you had new talking points that they're trying to bring up about reparations and the question of Pan-Africanism. Please understand that some of the people in the ADOS movement may have beef with Pan-Africanists and shit like that, but all of us don't. And don't let that be a put off. Don't let that be an issue, because black folks over here have a genuine gripe with everybody. Nobody tried to come and save us. Pan-Africanism has, has given us fruit, but not a lot. Other than rhetoric and information, which is good, right? So some people can generally have those feelings. Some people had those feelings before the ADOS movement even started. So let's keep that all the way real. But please understand that when you throw in a diaspora into the case for reparations, it don't work. It don't work. It can't work. It becomes a major roadblock in us being able to receive anything. And I'm going to bring it back to the folktale in a second. But on Joe Reed, there was a brother on here talking about ADOS. And, well, not really ADOS. He was talking about in Cobra. And one of the things he started going into was in a sense, the universal speak. They call them respectable politics, not rubbing anybody wrong, and talking about how we need reparations, but we need to learn how to, or need to know how to fit it into the discussion. And that shit is over. None of that. We got to stop. We got to stop allowing those individuals that want everybody to feel comfortable about the fucked up situation that we are in. We got to go on and we got to work with that. And we got to understand that that's necessary in the art of politics and in the art, because politics, whether y'all want to accept it or not, is war. It's war. And when you understand that and you could deal with that, you're not really uncomfortable or saddened, because you know that eggs have to be cracked. Juice has to be spilled. All right? I'm going to bring it back over here. So go and check out that piece. And what I put on, oh my God, here comes the attack. Listen to this brother and beware of the talking points. Hijacking the idea and expanding the argument beyond ADOS. That's what we got to really be. We got to really be concerned. We don't need to expand that argument beyond ADOS. ADOS is going to do what ADOS always do. We are going to influence and change the world with what we are able to get. We have always done that. I don't understand why other people don't understand that. We influence the world now. Right? Nobody mad. Nobody says that with CARICOM or the Caribbeans that are moving to get their reparations, nobody is saying that that's divisive or that's against Pan-Africanism. Maybe some people are. But they're working, boom. They're moving to get their shit. We move to get our shit. What's going to happen when other people see that we are making headway? Of course, they're going to attack us here, but what other people around the world, other people like us around the world are going to see is we don't have to take this shit. We don't have to take this shit. So we're moving the discussion to where it needs to be. And if it needs to move beyond discussion to something else, then we'll handle that when it comes. As we always do. As we always do. All right. It says this watered down the argument and make it impossible, supposed to be impossible. Make it impossible for our group to get anything but a discussion. See, what I'm hearing from the older groups that's been fighting for reparations, what I'm hearing is that they just want to have a discussion. Because I think deep down inside, they don't believe that it's possible to affect politicians and affect the political system in a way to make shit happen. This is why you got to go back and you have to read a case for reparations. Nobody said it's going to be easy. It's going to be very hard. All right, so let me connect this back to this folktale real quick. Let me make sure I ain't getting nothing in the chat. Let's connect it back to the folktale. And also, don't hesitate to call in 614-556-4535. Once again, the number is 614-556-4535. To get on the black signal so that you know what's going on with us at Gye-Nyame Journey, because we do have the Malcolm X Festival coming up, and we got to get those dates out to you. And we do have the monthly mall popping off, and we want to make sure that you're on our list. Hit us up. Type in GNJ to 25456. Once again, that's GNJ to 25456. That's the black signal, baby. Get on the black signal so that you can know what's going on in our community. All right, here we go. The shipwrecked man in the sea. A shipwrecked man, having been cast upon a certain shore, slept after his buffering with the deep. After a while he awoke, and looking upon the sea loaded with reproaches, he argued that it enticed men with calmness of its look, but when it had induced them to plow its waters, it grew rough and destroyed them. The sea, assuming the form of a woman, replied to him, "Blame me not, my good sir, but the winds, for I am by my own nature as calm and firm, even as this earth. But the winds, suddenly falling on me, create these waves and lash me into fury." Now, for personalized, one of the things this talking about is passing the buck. Because let's think about it. The sea didn't tell this man to jump on it. And I like the way they kind of describe him selling the sea, because they didn't talk about selling the sea. They talk about plowing the sea. Because a lot of people, when they go to the sea, they go to the sea for opportunities. They take a chance. Now, so he's passing the blame onto the sea because the sea induced him and enticed him. It in a sense begged him to sell it, and he goes out and he plows it, and the boat crashed. And when the boat crashed, he's sitting on the shore, he's blaming the sea. And the sea like, hey, baby, hey, calm that down. You know what I'm saying? Don't blame me, good sir. Blame the wind. When the wind starts blowing on me, right, it causes the waves. And we know, nowadays we know that it's more the moon causing and the wind can assist in that. So it's a whole bunch of different factors. And what this shows us that life is a lot. A lot of times the issues in our lives are a lot deeper than we really look at. A lot of times we see surface shit, right? And we get caught on the surface shit, right? But let's take it back to the original complainer, right? This man, in a sense, fell in love with the sea. And he's blaming the sea for his choice. He chose to plow the sea. When you plow something, you plowing it so that you can plant a seed so that you can get a return. You're taking a chance. Right? Now, many of us, we have to understand that when we get out there and we take these chances, we can't blame the thing that we take the chance on. Because the ultimate blame always comes back on you because you chose to do it. This man is not taking, you know what I'm saying? He's in a relationship with the sea. This is why it formed into a woman. He's in a relationship with the sea. And what we said, Gye-Nyame, there's three legs to the stools of relationships. The first one is respect. The next is responsibility. The third is reciprocity. If I'm going to get in a relationship with someone or something, respect has to be there for it to be a full relationship. I have to take responsibility and the other party has to take responsibility, but I can't force them. So if I'm in a relationship, I have to take responsibility for my partner relationship. Third, I have to understand the law of reciprocity. What I put into the relationship, I often get out. Ain't even often. What you put in it, you get out. It's a cycle of exchange. Cycle of exchange. Right? I give, it gives. I give, and there's a cycle. And if reciprocity is not there, it's not a full relationship. If respect is not there, it's not a full relationship. If responsibility is not there, it's not a full relationship. And out of those, the major two that you can control, well, actually, you can control all three of those. So, family, what does this have to do with the whole reparations piece? What does have to do with our personal lives and all this? We have to look at where we are, know where we are, and in a sense, take responsibility for where we are. And in taking that responsibility, we got to look around us with all of the things that we have relationships with. And we have to evaluate those three levels of relationship. That man wanted a relationship with the sea without responsibility, without understanding reciprocity, without really understanding respect. When you go to the sea, you know that sometime it's gonna get stormy. You need to expect that, because not just on the sea do you see when you in the sea do you see that the sea get rough. You also see that from the beach. Am I wrong? Right? So in all of our relationships, we need to check for respect, responsibility, and reciprocity. And let's bring this to the whole reparation argument, right? Because we did the personal thing. So before we move to that, I ain't even gonna get to that. Let's talk about our careers. Let's talk about the things that we personally have relationships with. Family, you have a relationship with your career. You have a relationship with your business. You have a relationship with people around you. You have relationships with animate and inanimate objects. And the thing that you have to evaluate in each one of those relationships are respect, responsibility, reciprocity. If you're on a relationship with something, does it return respect? Is it stable? Is it some responsibility on this part and your part? And does it give as much as it takes? Is there a cycle is there a cycle going there? So when we looking at business and we look, let's start with our careers and our jobs, right? We're in a relationship with that job. Is it showing you respect? Is it respect? Is there responsibility? And is there reciprocity in that job? If not, if all three of those things are not there from both parties, it's not even a relationship. You're being used. Or you might be using somebody else. Ladies, when you find a dude, or gentlemen, when you find a lady, if respect, responsibility, and reciprocity is not there, y'all don't have a relationship. Very simple, right? Sad. And from those healthy relationships comes success. Can y'all hear me? From those healthy relationships comes success. This dude obviously didn't have a healthy relationship with the sea, or he might. He might just be in one of those moves where he wants to blame everything on the sea. You entice me. You use me. But he describes his relationship with the sea. He was plowing. So if he was plowing the sea, he went out sailing for fun. He was out sailing for profit. Reciprocity in that. He enjoyed the sea. He fell in love with it. Respect. Now, where your responsibility at, homie? Shit happens. And we have to be able to take the responsibility. Now, let's tie this into reparations, which is a form of reciprocity that America has to deal with. Family, whether you know it or not, whether you want to admit it or not, if you're in America and you've been born in America and your family has been here in America for over, it don't even matter how many generations, you have a relationship with this country. It might be it's a fucked up relationship, right? But we have to understand when we are in a relationship, and many of us will not be able to break the relationship because many of us don't have enough money to move anywhere else or even have the skills to go to someplace else and be productive. Keep it all the way well. We're in a relationship. Right? What I'm going to do, go to Ghana and talk? That might work for me. That's how life works out for me and shit. But that's a possibility that I can get over there too. But then I would be leaving everybody that I know and love here. I'll be abandoning y'all in the midst of this battle. I don't do that shit. Honor, loyalty, and sacrifice. That's our shit. Respect, responsibility, reciprocity. I respect my family here too much. I got too much responsibility for my family here to abandon and just leave. Some people could do that. I can't do that. I got daughters here that I made promises to that I got to keep. Right? I told them I would try to send them to college and shit. I couldn't send them to college, so maybe I might be able to help them with a house payment one day. I don't know. But I like to keep my word. Right? But many of us, I ain't gonna say me, we in a relationship with the government. So, if we're in a relationship that we can't necessarily leave, it's kind of abusive, we got to take some responsibility for that shit and start checking these motherfuckers. Responsibility. Boom. Respect. Demanding the respect. Many people talking about, they concerned about Donald Trump getting in office. Please believe me, I survived 2 terms of Ronald Reagan and 1 term of George Bush. And then his son came, one election after that? No, 2 elections after that. Give me a fucking break. How much worse can it get? Right? So we got to demand our respect from these parties that supposedly want relationships with us. Democratic or Republican. And regardless of whether or not you voted the politician in, you have a relationship with that politician because he represents your area. demand our respect and to start getting our reciprocity. And if you don't want to do it for you, do it for your children. And if you don't have children, realize that all the work equity that your family put in this motherfucker, there's some reciprocity. And sometimes we have to throw the grease on the wheels of the universe to get that shit spinning. You know what I'm saying, family? We have an obligation to correct the relationship that we have with this country. And we have an obligation to make motherfuckers aware that they have been treating us wrong. Period. I mean, they're already aware of it. We just have to be like, we ain't taking that shit no more. Understand? Because this is what I understand about some people that's just talking crazy. What's going to happen when some people, if there is a check, what's going to be some of the first things that some people going to do? Because I know a lot of y'all focus on the comedy skit for that our boy did about reparations and shit. Yeah, you gonna have some people go out and do some stupid shit, and that's on them. But what about those of us that think? How could that money or those resources help you? Are you gonna go out and do something stupid? Let's say they send checks out. You know, the first payment is $40,000. What's the first thing you gonna do? You know what I'm gonna do? You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be talking to a whole group of us about doing some shit, right? So we can't be concerned about what everybody. I'm not pocket watching. I don't do that. That's not my. What you do with yours, that's not my concern. What I have to be concerned about is what I do with mine and what my children do with theirs, right? Until they're old enough to be responsible enough to use that money. I have to be aware where theirs is doing and every dime that is going to produce. Right? Boom. It's about these relationships. Many of us have an unhealthy relationship. Let's say we have an unhealthy relationship with this country. And most of us have our lives filled with unhealthy relationships. Where there is no healthy responsibility there, no healthy respect, and definitely no reciprocity. Some of us are in relationships where it's like a black hole. You pour in, pour in, pour in, pour in, and that's not how shit is supposed to work. Nature don't work like that. I mean, even a black hole, when you look at the theoretical aspects of a black hole, even a black hole sucking all that shit in, at some point in time, in somewhere, in some unit, something in some form, it has to be pushing that shit out somewhere else. When I was young, they had this concept called, you had the black hole, and you had like a white spot in a different part of the universe or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But something has to be done and created with that material. So even a black hole is, in a sense, giving back the space in some form or fashion. But many of us are caught up in relationships, so it's just sucking everything up out of you. And you're getting